Bonjour les amis. This is GenerateHER coming to you directly from the City of Light. I'm Jane Bertch, a Chicago native, Paris-based entrepreneur, author, and your partner in personal reinvention. I've spent the past 20 years living and working in Paris, and after leaving the corporate world and deciding to create something of my own, I've discovered both the beauty and the challenge of building a life shaped by curiosity, creativity, and a sprinkle of courage. These are the practices that lead to true transformation. So whether you're planting a seed in your jardin secret, your secret garden, or giving voice to your creativity for the very first time, let's step into your next chapter with intention. And of course, with a touch of Parisian charm. So as we say in French, on y va, let's go. Bonjour friends. Welcome back to GenerateHER. I have to be 100% transparent, and this is why it's so ironic. This is the third time I've tried to record this podcast to you. I'm not giving up. And what's ironic is this podcast, the name is The Beauty of Mess. I wanted us to talk about how the creative process is so messy. And that's okay. And that's meaningful. And that's very much a part of the process. And in me recording this now for time number 3, it's actually helped me really think about refining my message. Because the mess of trying to get this right has allowed me time to refine what I want to say. So we're going to talk about today the beauty of mess. I'm not talking about the mess on your desk. I'm not talking about the mess in your garage. I mean the mess that shows up when you're trying to build and create. When you're trying to create something, and that could be a new business, it could be a new product, it could be a new version of you. And I want us to remind each other that messiness is not a flaw. Messiness is not a flaw. It's a signal that you're doing the work. So I want to talk about the different types of mess that I'm experiencing here. The mess of us, the mess of doing the work, the mess of building a business. And I think we admire mess more than we do perfection. At least I do. I like to see how things emerge and evolve, particularly when it comes to people that I admire. So the mess of us. How can we love it in all its glory? We spend so much time trying to hide imperfections, but it's the imperfections that connect us, don't they? Nobody relates to perfectionism. I think people relate to mistakes and resilience and vulnerability and growth, and all of that is such a messy but meaningful part of our story. It's the part of our story where things feel out of place. We resist the mess because things start feeling out of place. It feels uncomfortable or awkward, or we're in a place that feels unfamiliar. But isn't that exactly what creation looks like? And I think it's one of the reasons I love Paris. Paris is such a great example of loving things that are out of place, the beauty of the tension, the contrast. We can see all of these great examples around us. We can see a glass pyramid that is sitting in the middle of century-old history of the Louvre. We can see a glass roof at the top of the Grand Palais. We can see so many things that seem out of place. We can see now today Paris's oldest bridge, Pont Neuf, reimagined by JR into this mountain, a cavern, he calls it. And isn't that a contrast to the beautiful Paris that sits behind it? And I think that's true for us. The next version of you should feel a little out of place. Your next business idea should be a little out of place. This is how we get invention and reinvention. I also want to remind us that this is the mess of doing the work. When we are constantly putting our hands in, you've heard that expression, you've got to get your hands dirty. Well, I think that's true of everywhere and everything. It's true about business, it's true about relationships, certainly true about personal growth. What does getting your hands in mean? To me, it means testing and experimenting and trying, failing, learning. It does not mean thinking endlessly, journaling on it forever, planning forever, analyzing every outcome. That's passive. That is not active creation. At some point, you have to touch the thing, you have to get in, you have to be messy. You have to manipulate it. You have to test it. You have to test your new idea, your new business, your new version of you. That's where the learning happens. And you know, I love a garden metaphor. I mean, come on. Me, who lives in an apartment in Paris, loves gardening metaphors. Nothing gets planted unless we put our hands in the dirt. Ideas don't get planted if we just sit and imagine them in the recesses of our own mind. Gardens exist because people put their hands in. They planted, they watered, they tended, they waited, they pruned. They had dirt under their fingers, they had mud on their boots. They had seeds that didn't sprout, they had seeds that did sprout. That's creativity. That is a messy process. Nothing meaningful, in my mind, is created by just sitting and imagining it. And that creation is messy. And this actually came up with a colleague of mine who is building a business at the same time I am. And she's going through what we all go through. You get all of these input and idea and directions, and it starts sending you in a million different places, and you're just not sure, and everything feels messy. And I told her what I'm going to tell you, and I say it out loud to remind myself. If it feels messy, good. You're probably exactly where you should be. It means you're creating. It means you're seeking data. It means you're finding new information and you're figuring out where to place it. If you have a business idea that you've created from start to finish, launched it, successfully have clients, and a thriving business in 1 year with the same original idea you started out with, you are a unicorn, my friend. You are in unicorndom if there is a place. Every other normal business on the face of the earth is constantly asking itself every day, which is a messy process, are we doing what we should do? Are we listening to clients? Are we reimagining ourselves and our products to provide a better experience to our clients? That's messy work. That's not clean work. But that's how businesses and how people sustain themselves. If I look at the light bulb, we have light bulbs today. But if we think back to our original light bulb, the first one, the first time people saw artificial light, wow, imagine the mess that it took to get there. And since then, how many different light bulbs do we have over the 100 years that they've been in existence? An incredible amount. And you know what? In 10 years, we'll have a new type of light bulb. Even products, the most simple ones, are reimagined. And they're reimagined by listening to customers, by watching behaviors, making adjustments, looking for efficiency, for all those things. And that's growth, and that's mess. And without it, we don't have invention, and we don't have reinvention. And if you don't like the garden analogy and you don't like the light bulb analogy, let's think about art. Let's think about the beautiful Paris that you love. I am sitting right across from a beautiful, elegant Haussmannian type building, beige cream with beautiful ironwork across it. It's done, it's created. Now, I imagine if I were to go back 150 years ago, maybe when that building was being built, it was a work site and it looked awfully messy. But mess is a part of the creation. And I imagine if I went to the Louvre and looked at it when they were creating and installing the pyramid, that would look messy. And I can tell you, Pont Neuf looked really messy during the creation of the cavern that we have now. And by the way, it got messy again because we had a storm and some of it was deteriorated. But that, my friends, is creation, and that's why we should love it. Creation and mess go up and down, up and down. They have their own iterations. The only thing to me that is dangerous is a straight line. If you imagine mess is the heartbeat of your creativity. It's the ups and downs that happen that keep you growing. That straight line, nothing's changing. We're just riding on out like this. No development, no ups, no downs. That is the death of the heartbeat. That's the death of creation. What we don't want are straight lines. We want adaptation. We want feedback. We want disruption, because that disruption, that action, helps us to clarify. So I want to remind us, in whatever creative process we're in, whether it be developing and defining us or our business or all of it together, because we know so much of our personal and professional meaning anything we do outside of the house. It could be just helping to create a community. Those take work. Those are messy processes, and they must change and develop as you are. And you have to get comfortable putting your hands in with the mess and realizing that that's such the beautiful part of the process. So if you feel messy, if your business feels messy, if your next chapter feels messy, you're not failing. You're doing the work. You're in the work. You're testing. You're learning. You're growing. No meaningful transformation happens from the sidelines. No beautiful gardens grow if people don't get their hands messy planting. No iconic city like the one I'm sitting in gets created without mess. No great life is created without mess. It's so much a part of the process. So I want you to remember that. I want you to remember how important it is to get your hands dirty and to enjoy those moments, because that's when you're in full creation mode. So if you imagine yourself entering the private workshop of Renoir when he was creating some of his most beautiful works of art that we can see and enjoy today, I want you to remind yourself of the mess that we would have found in his workshop, because it's in the mess that beauty is created. So, my friends, that's all for today. Version number 1,000 of this episode, thanks to all the mess in trying to record it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your beautiful mess today. A bientôt, mes amis. Before we go any further, if what I've been talking about today resonates with you, I want you to know there's a space for you that I've created. Several times a year, I gather a small group of women in Paris for what I call les saisons, the seasons. These are my retreats. They are very tiny, very intimate. Each one is designed around the time of year. So not just the season we're in physically, but hopefully the season we're in our internal seasons. And it's just a wonderful time to return to ourselves. In spring, we talk about planting. In September, it's the rentrée season, which is a beautiful time in Paris. And in the fall, it's the harvest, la vendange, because how can we not talk about wine and all those wonderful messages? So these are not spa weekends, they're not shopping, they're not tourist trips. These are 3 days in one of the most transformative cities in the world, designed to help you pause and realign and start to really think and step into what's next for you. And the women who come, they're curious, they're brave, they're open-hearted, they're just phenomenal. They're hopeful, they're community-based. And if that sounds like you, I'd love to have you join. So take a look at my website. I'm constantly updating different dates for Les Saisons retreats, and I'd love to have you here. You can find them all at janebertch.com/retreats.